Like when I talk about sharing your goals with other people, what I'm sharing with you is that if you can let someone else know and they can actually help you, you have a higher likelihood of reaching your goals. Who do you need? And by you saying to yourself, I'm not gonna share my goals, the reason I'm not gonna share my goals is because I just want to keep it to myself. You're causing goal suicide.
I want to change lives. I want to show people how to progress in their money. I want to show people how to progress in their mindset. I want to show people how to progress in their brand so that way they can take care of their family, take care of their finances, and experience freedom.
In this video, I'm going to share with you why it is vital to share your goals with other people. Just leaving the gym about 6 o'clock in the morning, just leaving the gym. And so here's what I want to share with you. I had reached out to someone. I'm going to share with you the whole story so you have context. I had reached out to someone on social media and I said to them, I said, hey, I see that you're a coach. I help a lot of coaches. What is your goal? Like, what is your goal in the business, right? So I'm going to give you two stories. Number one story, and I'll go straight to the point. The first story, the person says, Andy, one of my goals is I want to start speaking on stage. Okay, I said, okay, great. You want to start speaking on stage? Ironically, I'm creating an opportunity for speakers to get on stage. You can be the first person. So they took advantage. I let them know the opportunity. They take advantage of the opportunity. Now they're registered to speak on my stage. Person told me the goal. Check this out. That individual told me their goal. I found out that I was able to help them out. So I gave them the opportunity to speak on my stage. Now they're speaking on my stage. So their goal was met by sharing their goal with other people, with someone that could actually help them. Story number two. So I asked someone, you're a coach. So I'm talking to another coach here. I said, you're a coach. What is your goal? And I just want to keep that to myself. I don't want to, put it out there, mess up the ability for it to come true. So what I realized is when you're not sharing your goals with people, like if someone asks you what your goal is, and if you're saying to yourself, I can't communicate what my goal is, I don't want to let people know what my goal is. What then happens is what I found, the reason why people do that is because they're trying to save face. Saving face means that they don't want to be embarrassed when it doesn't happen. And so they want to protect their environment. They want to protect their brand. They want to protect their mindset. They want to protect out of fear that it's not going to happen. So they're saving face. That's number one. Or number two, they feel like by letting other people know that that other individual is going to attempt to attack their goal. All right. So as if you told someone, hey, my goal is to become X. And if I let you know what my goal is, you're going to tell me I can't do it. And you're going to attack my goal. Or number three, they really don't believe that it's going to happen. Like, it's cool to say. I want to share with you the difference between like this false reality of like speaking it out of existence into existence. And it like when I talk about sharing your goals with other people, what I'm sharing with you is that if you can let someone else know and they can actually help you, you have a higher likelihood of reaching your goals. Here's why. What we find is that in success, when you look at people become successful, when you look at people's different stories of how they became successful, how they either built businesses or, created amazing lives, the common denominator between each person was that there were somebody or a group of people along the journey that gave them a boost. Find someone who is truly self-made and you will find that they don't exist. Find someone who's truly self-made. And you will find that they don't exist. The reason why is because you need people. All right. Jay-Z needed Dame Dash, right? Jay-Z at a point needed Beyonce that supported their growth. Who do you need? And by you saying to yourself, I'm not going to share my goal. The reason I'm not going to share my goal is because I just want to keep it to myself. You're causing goal suicide. It's literally suicide for your goal. Because when you share with people, they can say, hey, you know what? I can help you. And it's about receiving that help to progress. I had a call the other day, a couple of days ago, with an individual, and we were talking about their business. And what we found is that they're good at one specific thing, all right? They're good at communicating with people. They're good at influencing people. They're good at teaching people. They're good at educating people, right? But they're not good at technical. like building sales funnels and marketing funnels and email sequences and text message sequences and getting data and building databases and converting those people from leads into from viewers into leads and leads into customers. They're not good at that part, but they're really good at technical. So I realized, like, when I see this person and they have a gift innately in my soul, like in my stomach, not even from a money perspective, like in my soul, in my stomach, what I see is I see someone who has something that's really good and just needs a little bit of a help. You're going to want to help them. Now, it's not helping people. It's not in the way of helping people that you look weak. The reason you ask for help is to remain strong. One of my mentors said that. He said, when you ask for help, it's not showing to the world, I'm weak. Look, I'm weak. That's not, like, if you ask for help, it's to remain in a strong position. Drop your ego. Ego is what affects people in being successful. Like, I remember when I went to Les Brown. Les Brown's an amazing motivational speaker. I've been listening to him for about 13 years at this point. And when I was listening to Les Brown, I got a chance to be around him. And I remember I went up to a hotel room with him, and we used to travel the country together. And I went to a hotel room. He used to I should drive him around to like different seminars and different events. And one day, I said to Les Brown, this was like back in 2018. I said to Les Brown, I said, hey, I really want to build a business and a brand. And like my ego said I could do it by myself. I don't need anyone. That's what my ego said. So my ego is like, I don't want to ask for help, right? I don't want to tell Les Brown I need his help. I want to be around him. I want to do it by myself. And I remember he said to me, like, I'll tell you the story. So we're traveling to San Diego for an event. We're driving from LA to San Diego. He's in my car, so he's in the passenger side of my car. It's literally just him and I. And as we're driving down, you know, I feel it in my gut. Like, I just want to ask and say, hey, look, you've created something that I desire to have in the future, right? As far as how your business is set up, how your life is set up, you know, what you created in your business. And I said, Les, I need your help. I want to find out how I can accomplish some of the wins that you've had. And we're just having, when I told him this, now mind you, Les Brown, I think today, a couple days ago, he just turned 77 years old, right? So he's in his 70s at this point, and what he's thinking about, little did I know, what he's thinking about was legacy. He's thinking about how he can help people create success. He's at a point in his life where another $1 million is not going to create like such a crazy impact. You know, another 100,000 or another million or another 2 million or a big deal. I remember when I had got him a deal with like a huge personal brand, and this personal brand had 11 million followers online. And I said, Les, this guy, he wants to interview you and have you on his podcast. I remember I was negotiating back and forth on Les's behalf, and Les Brown was like, and I was like trying to push this deal to happen. And Les Brown looks at me and he's like, he wants me on his podcast. I don't need to be on his podcast. He wants me on his podcast. And I realized like how big Les actually was. So so long story short, so we're driving, Les Brown's on my passenger side, and we're driving to San Diego. So this is about, I think, a 4-hour drive. And I'm going to bring him to his hotel. So like when Les and I travel together, I'm essentially at that time, this was 4 or 5 years ago, at that time, I would bring him to his hotel room. So I would go and get the hotel keys. When you're around someone at the statue of Les Brown, what tends to happen is if you start checking yourself in at hotels, people, especially at a hotel where you're speaking at, and there's hundreds or thousands of people at this specific hotel, and they see you in the lobby, man, they start running up to you, distracting you, and you never could get to your room. So at the time, no one knew who Andy was, so I would just do the work, and I would just go out and grab the hotel keys, and he'll stay in the car. And then when I got the hotel ready, the hotel key, I would say, hey, let's go to this route, up the elevator, go straight to the hotel room, let's not stop. So during this time, as we're traveling into this venue, I'm like, Les, I need your help, man. I want to build a brand. And he's like, I thought you never asked. And I was like, what? He's like, I thought you never asked, man. We're spending all this time together. I see what you're trying to accomplish. And I thought you never asked, Andy. So he was waiting for me to vulnerably go to him and say, hey, I need your help, man. So we go to the hotel room and he's like giving me the game. He's like, he showed me this contract. It was $70,000 for like a 45-minute or an hour and 45-minute presentation. I'm like, 70 grand for an hour? So he showed me the contract and he's breaking it down like how he gets this contract, right? And then one of the things he says is like, you got to use, in this world, you got to use borrowed credibility. So he talks about how he borrowed other people's credibility and built his brand on top of their backs and got to a point where he essentially had his own brand. And so he says, you can leverage my credibility. Like, I'm going to be behind you. And he says, like, this was an amazing experience. So he says to me, Andy, what I want to do is I want to put you in front of millions of people. I'm like, wait, what? So he says, on my Facebook, I have 1.x million people who follow me. Let's do a Facebook Live together. I want to introduce you to the world. And I'm like, what? That's amazing. But I'm excited at this point, right? And let me show you the kind of mindset that he has. So I'm excited at this point. Now, I made a mistake. I'm going to share with you the vulnerable mistake that I made. When I was in San Diego, I wouldn't say I got scammed, but it's like to the point where I almost got scammed. So when I was in San Diego, my buddy of mine ends up having, my buddy of mine, he runs multiple businesses and he has multiple phones. So when I would travel to San Diego, I texted my buddy and I said, hey, why don't you come to San Diego with me? So he was on his way to San Diego with me, but he lost, he had like a bag and in the bag, he had like 4 or 5 cell phones. And so he lost his phones and he had one in his pocket, one of the phones in his pocket, but he lost the other phones. So he's kind of panicking, like that's his business lines. And then, so he's calling the phones, trying to figure out where they're at, maybe try to find my location on these Apple iPhones. And then he ends up, so I'm telling you the story about how I almost got scammed. So he ends up my buddy comes to San Diego, and then there's this guy who we had met up with, and he said, hey, I'm traveling to San Diego and I have your phones. And he says, you're traveling to San Diego? We're going to be in San Diego anyway. Like, let's meet up at the hotel that Andy's going to be at. So they didn't know that I was traveling with who I was traveling with. They just knew I was going to be there. So my buddy says, let's meet up at this specific hotel. So we meet up at this hotel. This guy claims to work for Google. All right. True story. So this guy walks up to us and he passes my buddy the phone, and my buddy's like, hey, I'll give you money. I'll give you whatever you want. Thank you for helping me get my phones back. He says, don't worry about it. I work for Google. And we're like, what? He's like, man, I'm part of like the top 11 team members when Google started many years ago. And me and my buddy are like, what? That's awesome. And he shows us his business card and it says Google, right? Turns out to be fake. But then he shows us a picture of like a private jet that says Google on the side, and he's there. You know, probably was photoshopped for all I know. It turns out, and then he asked me, what do you guys do? And what I told him, I said, at the time, I said, hey, I teach people how to speak on stages, and how to communicate effectively, using platforms. And so essentially I'm a motivational speaker, but I also educate people how to speak. And he said, okay, man, I can make it happen in Google that if people type in the word speaker, you pop up on number 1. This is how people get ahead in this new economy, in this new world. And I was like, okay. So he ends up saying, let's meet up downstairs in the hotel at X time, right? At like 4 o'clock, whatever. He's like, let's meet up downstairs in the hotel lobby and I'll show you how to do it. This dude ends up doing like a whole seminar for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours. And at the time I had my assistant with me. So I asked my assistant to stay working with him. And he ends up showing us, really, all he did was like show us how to create a Yelp page. Yeah, and come to find out he didn't work for Google. It was a scam. He was getting divorced. His wife felt the same way that she was scammed. The dude was just a plain old scam artist going around California doing this back and forth. We ended up finding out later, right? And throughout this time that this guy is having this promise of like, oh man, I can, like, if someone types in the word speaker, you're gonna be found. If someone types in the word, one of the claims that he made was, if someone types in the word Tony Robbins, he said, I can push Tony Robbins' name down and put you on top. And because he's like, I work for Google, I could do that. And so during this time, Les Brown is saying, Andy told me his goal. I'm gonna help him. I'm gonna put him in front of people. And then this guy comes over here and he starts talking this nonsense about, hey, I can make you number one. I could change your life. And he's like, I'll just do it for free. I'm just gonna share it with you. And he got high off of this like fake life, like this fake life that he was living, which was like flying in a private jet and working for Google. And when you email him at his Google email, it comes back as the delivery cannot be made. The whole 9 yards, man. So here's the reason I'm sharing this with you. I told someone who's influential to me, who I trust, I believe in, and I told them what my goal was. They're saying they're willing to help. And then here's what happens. Something else comes out from the side work, like from the out of nowhere, and tries to distract me from my goal. So what I'm telling you is, as you share your goal with the world, you will have these distractions. So that doesn't mean you don't share your goal. The distractions are going to come regardless. That doesn't mean you don't share your goal. No, share your goal. That's the point that I'm making. Let the goal be known. So I told this guy what my goals were, and he starts giving me nonsense about how he could help me hit my goal, which was complete bullshit, right? He's not asking me to pay for anything or buy anything from him. All he's doing, he's getting high off of this idea that he's important in life, right? So when you share your goal with the world, you're gonna come across two types of people. The first type of person is the one who wants to help you. He's the one who says, hey, I want to be behind you. I want to support you. I want to put you in position, right? I already did it. I want you to think about, when you see, like, think about you as an adult and you're able to walk. Let's go down to the basics. You as an adult, you're able to walk and you're taking big steps. You can run, you can walk for miles, and then you see a kid walking. Like, I'm talking about a little baby. And it could be a family member, it could be your child. And as you see them walking, they fall. What do you say to them? Get back up, you can do this. Get back up, you can do this. And then you get behind them and you start holding their hands and you're helping them walk, right? That kid's goal is to walk. Now, with you getting behind that kid and you're like, hey, I'm gonna help you walk because I've done it before. Innately, are you getting anything out of it, right? Are you getting paid for it? Are you getting anything out of it besides the gratitude of helping that kid? Of course not, but what you're experiencing in this is this love, is this you being empathetic, this love where you're helping someone else get to where they want to go, especially if you got there already. So that's what it's like when you share your goal with someone and that individual is empathetic, they're loving, they're caring. Naturally, they're saying, hey, whatever your goal is, I've already done it. Let me help you get there. That's the first type of person you're gonna come across. The second type of person you're gonna come across is the stealers, the dream stealers, where they're gonna come in and shit on your parade, completely just shit on your parade. So you come in and you start telling this person your goal, and they're like, hey, I can help you get there. That's number one, and it's a complete lie. Or number two, they tell you that you can't make it. Or number three, they tell you that it's not possible. So you're gonna come across the people who are gonna try to take your dream away. But what I'm sharing with you, the reason you share your goals with the public is not necessarily to protect yourself. The reason you share your goal is not because you want to. The reason people don't share the goal. Let me start out for that. Is because they're trying to protect themselves from the stealers. That's what the reason why people don't share their goals. So if you're someone who doesn't share your goals with the public, it's probably because you're trying to protect yourself from the stealers, right? The people who want to take away from your dreams, take away from your goals. The reason you do share your goals is not to entertain the stealers, but to entertain and get in front of the people who can actually help you, right? So come to find out, right? After about 2 hours of this guy presenting, this dream stealer presenting this concept to me, and I'm well advanced in technology already. I'm already technology savvy. And he's like, yeah, man, so let's start off with creating a Yelp account, and we're gonna start off with there. And I'm like, dude, I don't need to create a Yelp account. Show me the backends that you're talking about. Show me the coding, the CSS coding that you're talking about. Show me where you build the scripts that push someone's name on top of Google at no cost. Show me that. And he's like, before we get there, let's do this. I'm like, so I spent about 2 hours with him. I find out as he's speaking, he's a crock of shit. But just to protect the idea, I have my assistant stay with him going through the whole process, right? 4 or 5 hours later, maybe 6 hours later, my assistant comes up to me and tells me the whole time was a waste. It was a waste of time. But during the first initial maybe 2 to 4 hours or 2 to 3 hours that I was there, that I person was there, this whole entire time, remember, I had told Les Brown as we were driving to the hotel, when he sat here, I had told Les Brown what my goals were. And he said, I'm going to help you today. I'm going to put you in front of my Facebook. I'm going to put you in front of people. I'm going to emphasize your brand. I'm going to put you in position. I'm going to give you contacts that you can reach out to, and so forth. So I said, okay, great. During this 2 hours that this guy is down at the hotel, so I had brought Les Brown to his hotel room, right? So I brought him upstairs to his hotel room, and the guy happens to be downstairs in the hotel. So it's me, my buddy who lost his phones, my assistant, and my buddy's assistant. We're downstairs in the hotel room, in the hotel lobby, and this guy is doing a presentation, the guy from Google. He's doing a presentation about how we're going to blow up Audate's brand, right? Everyone's interested. And during this 2 hours that I'm there, right, the dude spoke for like 6 hours, but I was there for the first 2 hours. During the first 2 to 3 hours, Les Brown is texting me, and he's like, hey, man, come upstairs to the hotel room so we could do this live and promote your brand so I can get you in front of people. And I'm pushing it off. True story. I'm pushing it off, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be there shortly. I'm having a meeting right now. I'll be there shortly. Mind you, I don't know how long this is gonna take with this guy, right? I asked him how long it's gonna take. He's like, not too long, and he keeps dragging it out. 2 hours later, an hour later. I'm thinking it's gonna take 15 minutes. Nope, an hour later. And I'm like, man, when's the good stuff coming? Another hour passes. At this time, I realize there's a bunch of bullshit. So I go back up to the hotel room. All right. Now here's the thing: when I travel with Les Brown, no matter what city that we go to, like we would be in Miami, we would be in New York, no matter what city that we go to, he has acquaintances and people that are in his circle that he would invite to like for private sessions, right? So Les Brown is a speaker coach, he's a trainer, he helps people build their brands, and so he has clients all over the world. So he would invite people to meet in the hotel lobby because Les Brown would essentially prepare for his presentation, right, with a large audience. And while he's preparing for his presentation, he would invite his past clients or his future clients to also meet with him at the hotel lobby or in the business center of the hotel, and he would work with them on their business and their brand. So during these 2 hours that I'm kind of wasting time with this dimwit over here, Les Brown is texting me. He's like, hey, come on upstairs, man, let's go, let me help you out, let me share with you what I know. And I keep pushing it off, right? I'm spending time with a dream stealer. And I'm making a point here. Then, so I keep pushing Les Brown off. Like the person I respect, the person I look up to, I keep pushing him off. And what a stupid decision that I was making during that time. Come to find out, there are people who are coming to meet with Les Brown because, he has other clients, and I do the same thing. Like if I travel to San Diego, I'm gonna contact all my San Diego clients and I'm gonna say, hey, let's meet up, right? Let's do a dinner, or let's have a group session, right? If I travel to New York, I do the same thing, right? Because I learned that from him. So that's what he's doing. Like he's meeting with, he's allowing himself to have access to people who have invested in him, and because he's in their city, then he'll stop by and say hello. So come to find out, as I'm pushing Les Brown off, and he was available just for me. When I said, hey, okay, I'm ready for you, essentially that's what I said. Well, yeah, there are people who are trying to get his attention, and I'm like, man, dude, I missed my chance right there. So I want you to write this down. Take advantage of an opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of the opportunity, meaning that every opportunity has a window. So you want to take advantage of an opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of that opportunity. So I keep pushing him off, and then once I get up to the hotel room and I'm like, hey, Les, Now, mind you, it's this, like, the hotel room is not like a little box. It's this huge suite. So once I get up to the hotel room and I start seeing other people coming, and I'm like, hey, let's do our our Facebook Live, and let's teach me the ropes that you wanted to teach me. He's like, we gotta do it later, man. We gotta do it later, because I got people coming. And I'm like, oh, okay. So as like time keeps going on, I realized that the event that I had brought Les Brown to San Diego for is approaching. So I can't even bring, focus on me at this time, because we gotta go to the seminar, the speaking event. So we end up leaving the hotel, and I drive us to the seminar where he's speaking at. I'm backstage, and my job essentially in that role is just to make sure he's protected and bring him on stage, and he might introduce me to the audience, and then I get off stage and he speaks the whole presentation, and then people do autographs and so forth, and then we'll hop in my car, we'll go back to the hotel. So that ended up happening, right? So for the first 2 hours that we're in San Diego, I'm bullshitting with this dream stealer. After the 2 hours that I leave my assistant and I go back up to the hotel room, other people start coming, and he puts his attention on those people. So I'm kind of just in the background, just like listening, as he's putting his attention on those people. And then it's time for us to leave. So I say, hey, Les, it's time for us to go to the event. So we get in my car, we go to the event, and I'm catering to him, and his business and his clients and so forth. So I'm taking care of all these people, and we drive there. He's signing autographs, the whole 9 yards. He comes back in the car and he's like, "Whoa, man, I'm exhausted," right? Because he's just did a whole presentation, and it takes a lot of energy to present on stage. So he just did a whole presentation, and then boom, we get back to the hotel room, and I'm like, "Hey, I know it's kind of late right now, so it's probably like at this point maybe 8, 9, maybe 10 o'clock at night." Because I remember when we got back, there was like a swarm of people at the hotel who were like, "Oh my gosh, Les Brown is here!" And so I protect them and I bring them to the hotel. But then he's like, "Hey, let's grab some food." So we end up grabbing some dinner. And then we go back to the hotel room, and he's like, "Okay, man, I'm exhausted. It's been a long day." And I'm like, "Hey, do you want to do the live?" And he's like, "Andy, it's just too exhausting." And guess what happens? The next day, I know the schedule. In the morning, my job was to literally drive him back to LA and bring him back to his house in LA. So we weren't going to have time if we did it the next day. So I'm like, "Hey, can we do the live tonight?" And he's like, "Man, I'm just exhausted." So here's what happens. True story. I'm hurt by it. And I go back to the hotel lobby, and Les Brown's like going to sleep, right? This is why I love this guy. Check this out. Les Brown is going to sleep. He's like, "Andy, I'm going to go to sleep." And I go back to the hotel lobby. Come to find out, when I get to the hotel lobby at the elevator, I meet this billionaire, this Indian billionaire, and we start chatting it up and we start talking. There was like a bunch of players at this conference, right? So there's a bunch, like there's multi-millionaires at this event, billionaires at this event, one in solar, one in energy, and I'm connecting and chopping it up with them, and so forth. Then I get a phone call. I see Les Brown calling me. So hey, what's up, Les? And he's like, "Andy, look, man, this is about legacy for me. I'm not interested in sleep. I'm interested in creating a legacy. Meet me in the lobby. Let's record some content right now. Meet me in the lobby right now." I'm like, "Really?" So I rush to my car, get my tripod, boom, boom, put my tripod on my phone, and I'm like, "Les, I'm in the lobby. Let's do this." And me and him record a Facebook Live. Now, that positioned me in front of I don't know how many million people. Like, it was a lot of people that one specific live, because we did it for like a full hour. If you go to my YouTube and you type in Andy Audate Les Brown, you'll probably see that Facebook Live. But because that live specifically, that's when like Facebook Live was really like, when you went on live, Facebook would flock. Like today, it's not the same, right? If you go on live today, Facebook Live, it's not the same. But back then, people would flock to Les Brown's lives. You would have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, and then plus the replay. So you would have essentially 10, 15,000 people on these lives over time. And he has over 1 million followers on his social media. Now, with the lives, you don't actually reach 1 million people, but you definitely reach thousands of people, right? So So I'm on this live with him, and a bunch of people are starting to DM me, direct message me, and saying, "Hey, I want to learn from you. I want to understand what you do. I want to learn how to speak. I want to learn this from you, Andy." And I started experiencing this abundance or this growth of people who are interested in working with me. Now, Les Brown broke down to me, like, how do you monetize it? So I learned how to monetize, and because I verbally let someone know of what my goal was, almost instantly that night, I was able to experience wins by sharing what my goal was. So in this story, what I'm sharing with you is that there's two aspects of it. Aspect number one is that you're going to tell someone your goal, and they're going to be a dream stealer. They're going to waste your time, waste your energy, waste your effort, right? And they're going to waste your time. That's the dream stealer. Once you spot those people, stay away, right? Once you spot those people, stay away. Now, usually those people come from a place like, they're like, I'm communicating with you, that you're like, the dream stealers are usually communicating with you because of their own ego. Usually it's because of their own ego. I'm not talking, like, stay away from those people, right? They're trying to serve themselves. What you're looking for is the people who are looking to serve you, who get excited by seeing you succeed. Like, I know, for example, like, my business is an art to me. When I can work with someone and I can take them from, let's say, from $15,000 a month to $35,000 a month, make an additional $20,000 a month through automatic sales, that's exciting to me. And when I see it done on my clients, that's art to me. It took some brain power. It was a puzzle that I can do with this individual, and I could support them through. The end of working with me in that example is a byproduct, which is the money. But it's an art to me. I'm excited by that. So you want to get around people who are excited to see you win. So for example, like in that story, I learned two things. Number one, take advantage of an opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of the opportunity. I should have stayed for those 2 hours. That's who I was committed to. That's what I was committed to, was being around people like Les Brown, learning from him, right? Not this dream stealer, right? So don't get distracted. Get around people and share your goals publicly. Had I said to Les Brown, like, we were driving, he could have said to me, Andy, how could I help you? And I said to him, I don't need your help. I'm good. I'm good. Well, he would have said, okay, well, he's good. There's nothing for me to do, right? There's no use for me here. I want to go to a place where I'm useful, right? That's how people who want to help people, they want to be useful to other people. Like, I want to be useful to you. It's not use me, right? Use me. I want to be useful. That's how I make my mark on this earth. That's how I make my legacy. It's when people use me, right? I'm not talking about it in a bad way. I'm talking about it in a positive way. Use me. Use my brain. Use my experience. Use my knowledge. Use my successes. Use my losses. Use it all so that way you can progress daily, right? That's what my shirt says, progress daily. So use me. So that's how I feel valuable. I feel validated when people use me. I feel valuable in the world when people use me. Why? Because it creates value to them, right? That's how I make my mark on this earth, and that's how I leave a legacy. So I know from Les Brown's heart, he's like, hey, I want to help you, but you got to tell me what you want me to do to help you. There's a ton of things that Les Brown could do to help me, right? He could talk to me about relationships. He could talk to me about mindset. He could talk to me about growth. He could talk to me about a lot of things. But I said, hey, this is one specific thing that I need help with, which is growing this world of personal branding and this world of recognition, right? I know how to run a business. I know how to make money, but how do you build a personal brand where you're recognized in the masses by people that you don't know? How do you do that? And he said what it was, like, get on other people's stages, borrow credibility, and so forth. Like, connect with other people, share with them your goal, and so that way they can give you a hand up. Not a hand out, a hand up. And I was like, okay, well, can you give me a hand up? And he's like, yeah, sure. Dude, yeah, you're serving me, I'll serve you. And so there's this, the reciprocation, there's this relationship that's being built. But if my ego said, I'm gonna just do it myself, I'm not gonna tell anybody what my goal is, I'm just gonna figure it out by myself, then you're gonna lose a lot of opportunities and a lot of those opportunities for you to win and succeed. Because Les Brown, for example, in that scenario, Les Brown at the time, he was probably speaking for 50-something years. So he has over 50 years of experience that he can accelerate my growth by 50 years right? By teaching me what he knows, the do's and the don'ts, so he can accelerate my growth by 50 years. But if my ego's, if I put my ego first, then what's gonna happen is that I'm making a conscious decision. Let me just wait the 50 years myself. Let me go learn the curve by myself and spend a bunch of time and learn the 50 years, and I'll be behind by 50 years. So I say all that to say this. You have a goal. You have a dream. Share your goal to the world. Let everyone know what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. There will be dream stealers. Just be aware when they do come, stay away, right? But there will be legacy makers. There will be servants to you. Those individuals, allow them to serve you. They feel, I feel joy when I get to serve you. Like if I can support you in your business, if I can support you in your growth, I feel happy. Like to see you being able to take care of your family at a different level, I feel joy. I'm excited to do that. All right. But if I say, hey, how can I help you? How can I serve you? And your response is, I don't tell people my goals, I'm all set. First of all, you're already cutting me off as a friend. You're already saying, I'm not interested in building like a deeper relationship with you. That's the first thing that you're doing. Number two, you're telling me you got it already. You're telling me you're all set. When you know in your heart of hearts, you ain't got it like that. You know in your heart of hearts, maybe I could really support you. Maybe I could really help you. And then you get to a point where you're like, I wish somebody could have just come out here and help me. And the reality is that there are people who can help you, but you're not allowing them to, right? Because you're saying, hey, my goals, I'm all set with my goals. I'm good. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm going to keep it to myself. As if your goals are so important that you can't tell the world. As if someone's going to try to steal your dreams in a way that is so negative. Like there are people who's going to steal your dreams as far as your time, your effort, your money, your energy, and so forth. But there are more people who are trying to help you. So don't walk around Earth tiptoeing and so damn scared where you're saying to yourself, like, I'm not going to share my dream with anyone because there are dream stealers out there. There is dream stealers out there, right? There is dream stealers out there. But don't not share your dreams because of the dream stealers. Share your dreams, share your goals because there are people who are trying to help you, trying to support you, and trying to build their legacy by giving you a hand up. It's a win-win scenario. Because someone who is like, for example, like me, if I can support you to grow financially, emotionally, spiritually, right? If I can support you to grow, and then, we get to a point where 6 months, 6 years, you look back and you say, hey, because I invested with Andy, I invested my time learning from Andy and connecting with Andy, this was a valuable experience. I feel like I could die happy. I feel like I could be like, man, my work is going to be left on this earth. So that's a win for me. To support you is a win for me. And then if you realize like, hey, by working with Andy, I done saved 15 years of challenges and heartaches by working with Andy, or I saved 10 years, or I saved a learning curve of a new idea, then that's a win, right? So what I'm sharing with you in that scenario, it's a win-win. So share your goals where you're looking for the win-win. And don't be scared when the dream stealers come. They're going to come. Regardless, it's going to come. But that's the pursuit. It's going to happen. It's going to happen where the dream stealers are going to come. Just be aware and acute when they do come. Don't waste your time. But when you get around people who care about you, share your goal. Share it with the world. Get it on social media and let the world know. My goal is to do X. What's going to happen is that the 10 people who see that content, who are dream stealers, they're going to try to steal your dream, steal your time. But the 15 people who can actually help you are going to say, hey, I can help you to hit your goal. And then now you see this abundance of people reaching out to you and saying, hey, let me connect you with this so-and-so. Yesterday, I had a couple of buddies of mine. They own like a software company, right? And I'm going into technology, and they own a software company. They've been doing it for 4 years. They're pacing 22 million. They have a huge valuation in their business. They have hundreds of employees, and they're very young. They're in their 20s. And so I let them know, like, hey, this is what my goal is. And he said, okay. Instead of me coming like with my ego and saying, I'm all good, I don't need your help, I told him, hey, this is what my goal is. After we had connected, we ended up going to the mall together. We ended up connecting. We did some podcasts. We spent a few hours together. After they left me, I was on their heart. I was on their mind. and then they send me a text message with a group chat with someone else who for me to connect with. And it's like, well, why did that come about? Well, because I was vulnerable enough to share my goals. So what I'm sharing with you is share your goals with people that you care, with people that care about you, and people that you trust. And the only way that you're going to build trust is when you share your goals and then they give you value. That's the only way you're going to really create that trust, is if you open up yourself vulnerably and you say, this is what my goals are. And they say, hey, you know what? That's your goal. Let me give you value towards your goal. That's going to build the trust. It's not the other way around where you have trust and then you share your goals. No, it's the other way around. You got to open up yourself vulnerably and realize that they're there to help you. And then trust gets built over time as they're there to support you. All right. So I hope you found this valuable. So I want you to share it with me in the comments. What is your goal? What are some of the things that you want to create in your life? And allow either myself or other people who see that content of what your goals are, allow them to help you, allow them to support you. So that way you remain strong. It's not a handout. It's a hand up. Thank you for your time today, and I'll see you on the next video.